We deal with the possible, but God deals with the impossible. Right. Let me say that one more time for you. How many of you know that we deal with the possible, but God deals with the impossible? I want to give honor to God, who's the head of my life, and also the great shepherd of this house. As he said, we had an opportunity to spend some time together, and not just the actual performance or the time in Pittsburgh, but we spent several months going through rehearsals, and I got a chance and an opportunity. I don't even think I need that. I got a chance to know him as a person, as a director, and one thing that I like the most about your pastor is, even when times got tough during our rehearsal stages or things wasn't going right with the production, he had a smile on his face. He's a person that can't be rattled no matter what's going on, and it takes a great man of God to have that type of temperament. And I learned that from him. I really enjoyed meeting you during that time and staying in touch and an encouragement, and right now, in Pittsburgh, I'll say this, I can't take credit for getting you home. That was God. But we had a production, and that's why I say God deals with the impossible. Because what we set out to do in Pittsburgh was take 30-something people across the world, fly 30-something people for production, which was very impossible for us to do. But we did it, and it was tough, but we pulled it off. And it was not but by the grace of God that we were able to do that. And it was a great experience just to be able to do that. And what you're looking at today is another thing that I feel that I can't take credit for. This book here is all by the grace of God. You're looking at a man who struggled to write a 500-word essay in high school. Couldn't write, hated to write. And all of a sudden we're looking at 142,000 words, all written by myself, where I can tell an editor, hey, I don't want you to change anything in the book. Change the periods, change the commas, but don't change the voice. So every single word I had to, I'm standing before you, I'm in awe myself that I was able to do that. And sometimes when I reread and went through the process of writing, I would read something and I'm like, how did I even come up with those words? But I know God put me in a spiritual place to write. Because there was times where I couldn't even write for weeks. And then something would turn on and the pen would just go. And then after I had to reread it, I can't even believe I wrote that. How did I remember something at 7 years old that vividly? So God brought those things to remembrance. And the title is very deceptive. How many of you watched some old Superman or Spider-Man or Batman movies back when you were younger? But if one of those is released next year, how many of you will still go watch it? You know the story. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen to Batman. You know what's going to happen to Spider-Man. Yet, it's a new movie. There's new characters. There's new settings. But it's still the same movie or remake. So what you're looking at here is a remake of The Prodigal Son. A lot of you know the old story, and we read it. But it's a new setting. And this book, I titled it Bawlin, Out of Control. And the reason I titled it is because there was a point in my life where I was heavy in the streets. Grandmother had raised me in the church. She dragged me to church on Sunday morning, Tuesday night, Friday night. And I was one of those kids who sat in the pews and fell asleep. But she dragged me to church every Sunday and Tuesday and Friday night. Sports was my outlet besides church. But later on in life, I find my mother was going through addiction at the time. So I was forced to be really the father of my home, taking care of my two little sisters during those times. But grandmother represented God in the book. She was the one who always took me to church and she instilled some things into me. So when I got away from those things that she instilled in me, and I found myself in the streets, how many of you know that the enemy sometimes will allow you to prosper in the wrong ways just to put you to turn from what God has planned for your life? So I found myself, I thought I was successful. a 20-year-old who was grossing about $250,000 a month in the streets before I was 21. I thought I had the life. I thought I had everything. And God had to, but that wasn't my purpose and that wasn't my destiny. So, of course, during the book shows a transition of, okay, grandma's voice was still in this young man, going through all of these changes. Her voice was still there. But there was a phrase that people used to say to me when I was in the streets, if I was driving a certain car or I was wearing jewelry, and they say, man, you're balling out of control. Balling out of control is a street phrase that people use. Whether it's in the streets, it could be on the basketball court. But they use the phrase balling out of control. So I said, how can I use that same phrase and turn it into a positive meaning? So all I did was I took the two L's out of Bawlin and I spelled it B-A-W-L-I-N, because the meaning of that bawling is an outward cry. So although you may see diamonds and money, you may think the book's about that. But the real story is the eyes of the book. The pain that he has to go through finding his way back home. So it's an outward cry. So a lot of people see the cover during the marketing and immediately they think, all right, this is glorifying the life. But it's the total opposite when they read it. It's really a testimony and ministry at its finest. And my publishers, they really been getting on me about the excerpts. Stop posting so many excerpts. You're getting close to release date. Don't give it away. And I say, well, 142,000 words, a couple excerpts is not going to hurt at all. So I had to bring something for you today that I want to share with you. I'm going to give you a preview of the book. I'll read a couple pieces. And this is the I'm going to read the part after what I described, the mind state, where the metamorphosis take place. And where God really, all the things that he's getting back to is already instilled in him at an early age. So don't think when you bring in your kid and he's falling asleep in church and he's 6, 7 years old and 5 years old, don't think for 1 minute that later on in life, those same moments will come back. And God will bring them back to remembrance. So I'm going to read one of the excerpts. And could you hear me okay? No? Microphone. She said no. The little girl said no. The next couple months seemed to go by in a blur. It was like I had blacked out. I was a normal person who had turned into a demon and lost control. Sometimes when having a wonderful dream, you wake up a little too soon and get upset. Maybe you're on some beautiful island or at a resort and everything looks so pretty. Or maybe you're with a loved one who had passed and so you wish you had slept a little longer so you could spend a few more minutes with them. Maybe they would have told you something that you really needed to know. But then there are times where you are running from a ghost or falling from a cliff and aren't sure where you're going to land. Then you wake up in time before an unavoidable calamity. In those cases, you are happy that it was a dream or a nightmare that you were able to wake up from. I looked down at my feet. For some reason, all I could take notice of was my socks. I had worn these socks many times before, but today, for some strange reason, they reminded me of many years ago. I was on my way to a Little League football game, changing my church clothes in the back of Mom's Gremlin hatchback, and I had forgotten to change my socks. It was how I got the nickname Church Socks, which forever stuck. It was game time, and my performance may have been enhanced by the luck of those socks. I continued to wear those church socks for good luck in every football game I played. Even in high school, the orange, black, and white team socks may have been visible, but the church socks were always underneath. I had even had them on the day I won all the money at Swamps years ago. They were my good luck charm, a reminder that God was with me no matter how far I drifted. I was staring down at them. Yeah, today was game day. I was hoping that they would bring me some luck, or better yet, a sign that God was still with me. Out of all the years I had done dirt in Pittsburgh, I had never seen what the inside of a prison or jail looked like. I had moved far away to avoid such a tour. Did the move really change me, or had I run from a temptation that I never truly dealt with? Was I hiding from something that was somewhere still deep inside of me, and I felt I was moving away, and moving away would be the only cure? Most of all, was I just absent from the game and not truly delivered? Yup, it was game time. If only I could rewind life, I would be at my Little League football game waiting for the referee to blow the whistle and make a call. This day, the game wouldn't be that simple. In fact, it was quite serious, as the field I was playing on was a federal courtroom, and the referee who was waiting to make the call was a judge. I picked my eyes up off the floor, looking away from my socks up at the honorable judge who was about to announce my fate. Was I finally paying for all the transgressions that I thought I could run away from? They say you reap what you sow. Was I now about to reap all the bad seeds that I had sown over the years? I looked to my right and saw a poker-faced attorney who was said to be one of the best in the state. Would his 30 years of practice and the small fortune that I had given him do any good for me? Today, during the proceedings, I had watched lips move, but had not heard anything. My body was standing in the courtroom, but my mind was somewhere far away. And then it happened. I could see the judge as if he were moving in slow motion. He picked up the wooden gavel and raised it to the side of his ear in preparation to slam it down to confirm my fate. Everything was in slow motion. His voice dropped like the voice of Count Dracula when he said I was sentenced to a federal penitentiary. Immediately after the loud slam, the volume in the room seemed to be turned on. I heard certain whispers and sounds of deep breath, but me, I was actually holding mine in disbelief. I was escorted out of the courtroom and transported to my new residence, where I would be living for several years. And instead of a number on the back of my football jersey, I would now have several numbers accompanied by letters on the front of my prison shirt. Galatians says, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. In other words, all the good I had done by walking away from the game and moving away for change was now ruined by one bad decision. But would it have really been one decision? Or everything had gone perfectly fine? Would I have been on my way to continuing the lifestyle that I thought I left behind in those tunnels in Pittsburgh? The first couple of days I sat in silence. Although the only one I could have spoken to was God, I still refused. I knew I probably couldn't hear him at this point anyway, so I stayed silent. I paced the floor, back and forth, running out of space within the 3 or 4 steps. I kept asking myself, what have I become? And how had God allowed me to sink so far in this dark, dark space called solitary confinement? It was probably equivalent to the state of my mind and spirit. I started to ask myself questions since I was not talking to God. My problem was that I could not answer any of them. On about day 4, I requested a Bible. I figured although I had been speaking to God, at least I hadn't been speaking to God, at least I could read the Word and see what I could get out of it. So I started reading the pocket-sized New Testament Bible that they had given me. The small print and very little light made it difficult to read. But was it the lack of power source in terms of electrical energy, or was it the lack of power source in terms of God? I continued to force-feed myself the scripture in spite of not really understanding anything. I read through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. By the time I got past the Gospels, I felt I had lost my mind in this hole. Was I hallucinating? I was reading different books of the Bible, but I felt like I had just read the same miracle or parable days before. I was not aware that all 4 Gospels were the same account of the life of Christ, but told differently, and I really thought I was going crazy. By the time I got to Revelations, I was in a state of confusion. I read the whole entire New Testament, every word, every comma, every period. Yet I was in the same exact place I was before I requested it. Why hadn't it made me feel better? Then about the 3rd week, I got the answer. I remember pacing back and forth, still asking myself questions. Finally, I decided to ask God a couple things. Why was I mad at him anyway? it was because of my own decision that I was now in this cocoon. So I began to talk to God, and before I could get a full sentence out, something came over me in that cell. I could barely pronounce a word as tears had overtaken me. I had totally broken down, and I began to cry out to God and ask Him to forgive me for my stubbornness. I remember praying in that cell until I emptied out all the tears that I had inside of me. I confessed all of my faults, and I asked God to come back into my life. After that prayer, I felt a peace come over me, and I decided that whatever happened to me, I would trust God and know that I was in His hands. The next couple of days, I continued to read the Bible, but now I understood what I was reading. I knew I was in a bad situation, but something happened to me in that dark cell, and I found myself bawling out of control. So I wanted to share that part with you because, you know, there's parts in the book that does glorify the lifestyle, and I felt like some of the things that I experienced in the streets, some of the things I dealt with through my mom's addiction, and she becomes a hero in the book. She gets totally delivered from her addiction, and then they switch places. Now her fight is her son in the streets. So I said a lot of parents are going through the same situation today. It's still relevant. It's still a Superman or Batman movie, and it's replayed over and over again, and we see it. So I felt my testimony, me being transparent and honest. And if you notice when I read, I read a lot. I'm an avid reader. But it's very difficult every time I read my own book because it's dear to heart and it's real. So I felt like if I'm transparent, people can feel that. They can relate to it, whether it's addiction, dysfunctional family, recovery, and most of all, the decisions that I made and the things that I had to pay for, even going to prison at a point in my life. God still can put you in a great position no matter what happens. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. The book will, it's just overwhelming the support that I've gotten, you know, about this book. People are waiting for it. And every day I'm getting calls and inboxes on Facebook. When is the book released? So they're anticipating it. And I just give all glory and honor to God because I don't think I could have done that had it not been Him helping me or putting me in the right mind state to be able to form words that make sense. My first couple chapters, I felt like, can I write words that people can feel when they're reading it or hearing it? Could they be at that place? And everybody who's read pieces of it has been touched by it so far. So I'm looking for great things, but just not financial gain, but be able to touch people's heart when they read this story and say, hey, I can overcome any obstacle. If this man did it, I can do it. So thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. And I'll be back again. I'm sure this ain't the last time visiting as we move forward. And it's a great ministry. I felt when I walked in the place, I felt like this is the church that Grandma took me to as a kid every Sunday. The same kind of ministry. So thank you again, and God bless you. And again, thank you for having me.